Hello, this is Domenico with Easynomics, and this is another Keynesian multiplier practice question calculation in the context of a paper 3. If you need an introduction or a review of the Keynesian multiplier, the concepts behind it, I recommend this video that explains it in full detail, which will be linked below. So let's go ahead and tackle this paper 3 type question. Keynesian multiplier practice question part 4. There's additional parts in the playlist so you can practice other types of questions that utilize the Keynesian multiplier. Let's go ahead and go over this question. Country YYZ. If you know what I'm referring to, you can comment that below with YYZ. For each additional $10 of income earned by the household. So I'm going to make some highlights here to focus my attention on what the question's asking us or what the question is giving us in terms of data. So here we have a change in income. For every additional $10 earned by the household, here we have a change in savings. So I'm going to highlight that. $1.50 is saved by the household for each $10 earned. Then we have 80 cents that is taxed. So there's a change in tax. And then we have 70 cents for each $10 earned that is spent on imported goods. So here we have a change in imports. This video will focus on questions A and B. There'll be a link to question C at the end, and will be tackled in that next video. So question A, calculate the value of the Keynesian multiplier for country YYZ. I want you to pause the video, calculate the multiplier, and then we'll check your work. Pause the video now. Okay, so let's start going over question A. In order to use the Keynesian multiplier formula, I need decimal values for the propensity to save, tax, and import in this case. So let's start with the propensity to save. The marginal propensity to save is equal to the change in the savings rate over the change in income. So that's going to be equal to $1.50 that is saved for every additional $10 earned. And that gives us 0.15. So the marginal propensity to save is 0.15. Great. Now let's go over what the marginal propensity to tax could be. The marginal propensity to tax will be equal to the change in tax over the change in any additional income. So that's going to be 80 cents divided by every $10 earned. And so that gives us 0.08. So the marginal propensity to tax is 0.08. Perfect. Last is the marginal propensity to import. Marginal propensity to import is equal to change in imports divided by the change in additional income. And there we have 0.70 divided by 10. And that gives us 0.07. So here we have the decimal values that we need to use the Keynesian multiplier. So now we're going to use that formula. So there are two Keynesian formulas that we can use. We're going to use the one with the propensity to save, tax, and import. So the Keynesian multiplier as a formula is equal to, in this case, 1 over the marginal propensity to save plus the marginal propensity to tax plus the marginal propensity to import. All right, what does 1 represent? 1 represents for each additional dollar the 4 things that we are assuming the average person will do with each additional dollar. So in this case, for each additional dollar should be equal to the marginal propensity to consume plus the marginal propensity to save plus the marginal propensity to tax plus the marginal propensity to import. And we have the savings rate of 0.15. We have the tax rate of 0.08, 0.08, and then we have the propensity import, which is 0.07, and then we'll see what that equals. So let's go continue this formula. So the Keynesian multiplier equal to 1 over the marginal propensity to save, 0.15, plus 0.08, which is the propensity to tax, plus the propensity to consume imported goods. And that equals 1 over 0.3. Okay, and then that would equal 3.3 repeating. 0.3. So the sum of these three items, the marginal propensity to save, tax, and import, the sum of these is equal to 0.3. Oops, looks like I don't have enough space here. 0.3. So the marginal propensity to consume over here will be what's left over, 0.7. So here we can see for every additional dollar earned, 70 cents is spent on goods and services, 15 cents is saved on average by the average person, 8 cents is taxed, 7 cents is spent on imported goods and services. That's the idea here of what this one represents. The other way of calculating this, the Keynesian multiplier is also equal to 1 over 1 minus the marginal propensity to consume, which you can see is 0.7. 1 over 1 minus 0.7 equal to 1 over 0.3, which equals 3.3 repeating. So we have answered question A. The value of the Keynesian multiplier is 3.3 repeating. For every additional dollar that's injected into the circular flow, the economy will expand 3.3 times, 3.3 repeating times. Great. Now let's move on to question B. Using your answer to question A, calculate the increase in government spending needed to achieve an increase in nominal GDP by $789 billion. So you want total increase in nominal GDP by $789. What will the government injection need to be multiplied by 3.3 repeating times to achieve that total value of spending? So I want you to pause the video and in your notes calculate what that government injection needs to be to achieve $789 billion of spending if the multiplier is 3.3 repeating. Go ahead and calculate now. Pause the video. All right, so let's go over this. So in order to calculate this, let's think about what this is asking us. It's asking us for a change in government spending, and that injection is going to lead to the multiplier effect. So multiplied by the value of the Keynesian multiplier. And that's going to achieve a change in nominal GDP. So we're just going to fill in data points for that question. So we don't know what the change in the government spending is going to be, but we do know the Keynesian multiplier value times 3 since it's 3 repeating, on the cover sheet of a paper 3 exam is usually asking us to provide a value up to the second decimal value, so I'll just put 3.33 equal to the change in nominal GDP, which is going to be $789 billion. Great. So we're going to just do basic algebra and discover the answer. So the change in government spending will be equal to $789 billion divided by the multiplier, in this case just 3.33, and that's going to give us a final answer of the change in government spending needed being equal to 236.936, and there's some other values there, but we're going to change that up to the second decimal value, 236.94 billion dollars. So there's our final answer. The government will have to spend $236.94 billion. It's going to be multiplied by the Keynesian multiplier 3.33 times to achieve a total change in nominal GDP by $789 billion. Okay, and that's it. In the next video, which will be linked below, we'll cover question C. We're going to draw using an ADAS diagram, the impact of the multiplier and having it fully labeled, which could also be asked of you on a paper 3 type of exam. So look out for that link. If you have any questions, you can comment those questions below, and don't forget to subscribe and to like. Thank you so much.